Hello and welcome back. Welcome back to Talk Data to Me. I am your host, Shahana Muhammad, and it's been a while. It's been a week or two, and I'm glad to be back. So we're gonna get straight into it. Today we're talking music moments in machines. Of course, we're going to get into some AI talk. We're going to get into some cool tools that I looked at. We're also going to get into Coachella because that happened these past couple of weekends and how the music industry is shifting right in front of us. And I first want to talk about Coachella before I get into the other stuff. First of all, I didn't even know that Justin Bieber was going to be, I didn't even know Coachella was going to be a thing until March. I don't know if that's good promo marketing or no, or I'm just not on it in a way that I should be. But, I mean, I'm glad that Coachella streams. Now, I've been a fan of just festivals and all that kind of jazz for maybe well over 10 years now. And so I've always wanted to go to Coachella, right? But never made my way there yet. Not yet. What I want to say, because I feel like there were so many responses in regards to the performance, and I think you either loved it or hated it. And I think that obviously the people who loved it are people who have been fans. And I think the people who hated it are people who had a different expectation. And you kind of saw the expectation from other artists that did perform at Coachella. I didn't watch a lot of the other performances. I did watch some other performances. But, the dancers and the whole DJ thing and all that other good jazz, right? I think that was the expectation, especially given the artist that Justin Bieber is, and you didn't see that at all. If you haven't watched Coachella, sorry, this is a spoiler alert, but I mean, seriously, if you haven't watched it, you're probably not going to watch it. And if you haven't watched it, I encourage you to watch it. I think what was so captivating and what has been captivating about the last couple of performances is the changes that you can visibly see. Now, what am I talking about? So I want to say this. I have not always been a believer. I think when Justin Bieber came out, I was already in my 20s. So in my head, I'm like, oh, this is cute for little girls type thing, right? But I've always been a fan of the team that was originally around Justin Bieber. I'm not saying that they're not. So the team of writers and producers that have been around Justin Bieber, and The Dream is one of my favorite songwriters of this generation, as well as Rico Love. And it's so funny because it's I always mention one. I feel like when I mention one, I have to mention the other because they're both my favorite. But he wrote Baby. And, that was Justin Bieber's first single, I think. And it was one of, his bigger singles. I became a fan during the Purpose era. And it's been me being a fan ever since then. You don't know people personally, right? We don't know an artist's lives. We don't know their lifestyle. We only know what we're told by the artist, and, what the media kind of purports, you can't really trust all the time. But one thing I can say is that, Justin Bieber has been open and transparent about the things that he's gone through and his struggles, and a lot of the ways that he's overcome those struggles, right? And it's you can see that. And so it was the Grammy performance for UConn that was what is happening? What has happened? What has transpired? Because something transpired. And I think for me, a lot of what has been coming up in terms of commentary around the Coachella performance from the first weekend was that, again, there is no interviews, right? I'm not sitting and watching like discussions of this man's personal journey, but you can definitely see a difference from the Purpose era Justin and the Swag era Justin. And I personally liked the performance. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think we were gonna get like a full typical dancers, this is what you're used to seeing type thing. And I think it was very brilliant on his part, because as a creative, you always want your art to evolve with you. And that can be uncomfortable, especially if you're in a space where there's already an expectation. There's already an expectation for Coachella in general, right? Because it's a festival. So if you're an artist, you come, you perform, and it's lights and it's fire and it's this whole production. And then you have this major world artist that does the exact opposite. But I'm going to tell you, clearly, this artist is in tune not just with himself, but with his fan base. Because, I mean, let's face it, Justin Bieber's older now. A lot of the people that have listened that started out with Justin Bieber are much older now. They're responsible. They have a life. They have jobs and different things that they have to do. You can't go to the club if you got to be up at 5 in the morning. I mean, you could. But most people aren't. And you're going to be in your room. That don't mean that you don't want to dance or turn up. You're going to be in your room. You're going to pull out your YouTube and you're going to type in the songs that are maybe trending. In most cases, you're going to type up your songs that do it for you. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was like, I legit do that. I will sit with my wine and watch my YouTube videos and dance in my room. So I think that it was very authentic. The performance was very authentic. It felt very real. And I'm glad that it wasn't what we expected. But what really stood out was the energy and the connection. The fact that even through a screen, people felt like they were a part of something. And that's honestly where we are now. And we're going to shift more into that. I think that artists are starting to realize that it's not just making music, right? They're creating moments that can live online forever. And if you're an artist today, you're not just competing with other artists. You're competing with and for attention. So now let's bring AI into this. Because while artists are creating moments, AI is creating music. And I'm not talking about Suno or Udio. We talked about those. We already know those platforms, right? There are tools like, I'm going to talk about 2 tools that I looked at today, which is Soundraw and AIVA, that let you create full tracks, moods, soundscapes without ever stepping into the studio. So now the buried entry, gone. Anyone can create, but that also means the value starts to shift when you get into a new space. It's no longer about who can make music, but it's about who can make people feel something. I still feel that AI lacks that feeling. It feels very polished. And I think that when you create authentically as an artist, anything that you create, even if you're in the studio, you're using Pro Tools or whatever kind of tools, you're still able to get that grit that you get when an artist creates something. Even if they're just making tracks, you can still feel that, right? And I think that's, to me, that's the one minor drawback to AI music in general. I think that it's, like I said, it's a minor drawback. I think, in the same way that when you record it on tape, it had a different sound quality than CD has. Now you can manufacture that quality with plugins, you know what I'm saying? So eventually I think we'll get to that point. Now, this week, Black Tech Spotlight. Let's talk about Timbaland, a legend in the game. And he's been experimenting with AI. He actually was one of the people I was watching while scrolling on Instagram, and I saw that he was talking about Suno. I thought Suno was actually his. But then I learned he was just the face of it. But he's experimenting with AI, and I think that's such a huge deal because, again, Timbaland is somebody who, whether you are a fan of the artist that he's produced for, you have definitely heard his music. But I love that he's not running from it, that he's actually using it, and that's the difference. And he actually has an AI artist now. And largely because the artists and producers who learn how to blend AI with their creativity are going to define the next era of music. I am a creator who's created from scratch, right? So I love that aspect of, I'm learning to fall back and love that aspect of creation in a new way. And I think that kind of creates a little sting when you see these other platforms. But like I say, while we can create, let's still create. So let's control our dream. Imagine this. Oh, before I do that, I didn't even talk about the platforms in depth. I'm sorry. So Soundraw, both platforms are composition platforms, but one, Soundraw, is just for different types of beats, right? And then AIVA, I hope I'm saying that right, it's more for cinematic compositions, but they're both beat making platforms. You can head to each website respectively and do some more research and see where that is. A lot of these platforms will allow you to use them for free. But if you're, in this case, you need music for a film or whatever, a project that you're working on, it's best to have an account. So that way, your music isn't tracked and then flagged. So, now, getting back into the control alt dream. Imagine this. You create a song and your AI helps you produce it, mix it, distribute it, and get it in front of the right audience. No label, no gatekeepers, just you and your system. That's where we're headed. So the question is, are you holding on to the old industry, or are you learning how to build in the new one? Now, this has been talked at me, where AI meets culture. If this episode made you think, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. And comment building. Share it with someone who's creating, building, or dreaming, because the future of music is already here. I will catch you in the next episode. Until next time.